The air inside the federal courthouse in rural Ohio was suffocating. On one side of the aisle sat the families of Oak Creek, a small town that had been decimated by a mysterious illness. On the other sat the legal team for Apex Chemicals, a multi-billion-dollar industrial giant. At the center of the storm was Elias Thorne, a former plant engineer turned lawyer who had dedicated his life to exposing the truth. The charge? Negligence leading to the mass contamination of the town's water supply, resulting in terminal health issues for dozens of children. To the world, it was a statistical anomaly. But today, on Justice Journals, we pull back the curtain on a corporate conspiracy so cold it would freeze your blood. The defense attorney for Apex Chemicals opened with a condescending tone. "Your Honor, this is a tragedy of nature, not corporate negligence. These illnesses occur in thousands of small towns annually. To blame Apex Chemicals for the health issues of a town 5 miles away from our plant is not just a reach, it is a smear campaign against an American industry leader." Elias Thorne stood up. He didn't look like a lawyer. He looked like a man fighting for his home. "My client isn't asking for pity," Elias stated, his voice calm but steady. "We are asking for the truth. Apex Chemicals claims their waste management system is state-of-the-art, but we have proof that it isn't a system, it's a bypass." The trial turned into a war of technical documents. The defense produced falsified environmental impact reports, all stamped with government approval. But Elias had something they didn't expect, a witness who had been silent for 20 years. "Mr. Henderson," Elias called to the stand. The witness was an elderly man, hands shaking, oxygen tank by his side. What was located underneath the storage tanks? The courtroom went dead silent. Henderson looked at the Apex executives, then at the families in the gallery. "It was a diversion valve," he whispered. "Every time the plant reached capacity, or when the cost of chemical disposal got too high, we were ordered to turn the valve. It didn't send the waste to the treatment facility, it sent it directly into the underground aquifer, the same water source that feeds Oak Creek." The defense attorney jumped up, objecting, claiming it was hearsay. But Elias wasn't done. He pulled out a digital tablet. "We didn't just find a valve, Your Honor. We found the internal emails. Apex Chemicals' CEO personally authorized the overflow protocol 3 times in the last decade, specifically to avoid environmental regulatory taxes." He projected an email onto the courtroom screen, dated October 14, 2012. It was a clear order. Bypass the filtration, save the costs, do it tonight while the EPA is off duty. The CEO, who had been sitting arrogantly at the defense table, went pale. The families in the gallery began to weep, not in sadness, but in relief. The statistical anomaly was in fact a calculated business decision. The judge's verdict was swift and unprecedented. Apex Chemicals was found guilty of criminal negligence and conspiracy to commit environmental terrorism. The judge ordered a multi-billion-dollar settlement to be paid to the residents of Oak Creek and mandated the immediate cleanup of the aquifer, funded entirely by the company. As Elias Thorne walked out of the court, he didn't celebrate. He walked over to the families and stood with them. He had proven that no company, no matter how rich, is above the fundamental right to clean water. When a corporation trades human lives for quarterly profits, is a fine enough punishment? Or does the law need to hold executives personally accountable for the toxic footprint they leave behind? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. This is Justice Journals. Subscribe for more stories of justice, courage, and the fight to save our communities. The court is adjourned.